again, this is Eddie Felton, and I'm from the Homeownership Resource Center in Fort Myers, and my phone number at the Homeownership Resource Center is 239-768-2013, and we're a nonprofit organization that does foreclosure prevention, intervention, first-time home buyers, and we also provide individuals with budgeting and credit repairs. So today, what we're going to be talking about is how to establish a budget. One of the things that we talked about at the closing of the last session was basically how to avoid going into foreclosure. So today what we're going to be doing for the next couple of sessions is to talk about how you avoid going into foreclosure. And what we're going to talk about today is how you're going to, say, manage a budget. Doing a budget basically is where it is a general, what a budget is generally a list of all planned expenses and revenues. Basically what that means is that it tells you exactly how much money you got coming in compared to what you got going out. And so this is where most people get into trouble when they don't know how to budget their money. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go step by step and basically talk about how you manage your budget. What it says here is that a budget is basically, it lets you control your money. You need to be able to control your money, not allow your money to control you. We will also tell you if you are living within your own means. At the same time, it's going to be able to say, point out to you exactly what you need to do and how you need to say establish a budget. Because with having a budget, if you think about the people now that's going through hard times, going through foreclosures, if they knew how to budget their money, and it's not because of them losing their jobs or them cutting back on their hours, I don't think that the economy would be in the predicament that it's in at this present time. But because people not knowing how to budget their money, then basically this is where they start having problems. The steps, learning the steps to budget your money. Understanding the importance of personal money management, tracking your spending, setting your goals, adding up your income, review and open checking and savings account. Create a spending plan, create a savings plan. Calculate the mortgage payments you can safely afford. All of these things are very important. These are steps that you need to know and be able to master on when it comes to you, say, doing a budget. Understanding the importance of personal money management. Most people who want to buy a large purchase, such as a home or a car, cannot afford it at all at once. So they borrow the money from the financial institutions like a bank or a credit union. And this is one of the things where we will now be able to, say, point out to you exactly what you're going to need to do in order for you to be able to, say, look at buying a home. Look at, say, purchasing a car. At the same time, you're going to need to, say, look at, if you're a homeowner, how you're going to be able to, say, maintain your budget. Okay, you do not have to wait for a bank to tell you if you have enough credit or income to qualify for a loan. You can figure it out for yourself. And we know this here for a fact, is that if we don't have any money in the bank, if we don't have anything going for ourselves for the job is concerned, then we're not going to be able to get credit. Because we cannot afford to buy a house if we don't have any money or credit. At the same time, is where if you own a home at this present time, you're going to always have some type of situation or problem that's going to be going on where possibly you're going to have to, say, go out there and have to have some money in the bank. So this is why we want to make sure that you understand exactly how to manage your money. Some of the major pitfalls that you will have is that you don't have a spending plan. What is a spending plan? A spending plan basically is where you sit down and determine how you're going to spend your money on a weekly, monthly, or bi-weekly basis. And it basically is where you have to sit down and put it on paper and pen. You need to write it down so you can understand exactly what your plans are and how you're going to go about doing it. You don't have no cash reserve. The cash reserve basically means is that after you paid all of your bills and everything, you would have a certain amount of money that's left over to have for just in case as an incidental. So at the same time, it will be money that you would have in place in just in case you have some type of emergency. So you need to have some type of cash reserve. Sometimes people have problems because they have too much use of credit. What have we found here at the Homeownership Resource Center when it comes to people that's coming into our office that are going through some form of foreclosure is that they were living by their credit cards. And this is something that people do not need to practice, because what will end up happening is that once you use that credit card, you got to pay that money back. And if you don't have that money that's within your budget to, say, pay this money back, then you're going to start having problems. There is no provision for large expenses. If you're a homeowner, and even if you're not a homeowner, there's always going to be the possibilities of you having a large expense. For an example, you're going to have to go out there and you might have to buy a water heater. At the same time, your car may break down. You might have some type of emergency, family emergency, where you need to have some money. So it's always a possibility that you might have to say, be prepared to say, have some additional money that's available. Carelessly shopping habits. This is one of the problems that I think that most people have when it comes to, say, budgeting their money. We have a tendency when we're going someplace, we will stop at the McDonald's, we'll stop at the Burger King's. There's nothing wrong with stopping there, but at the same time, if this is not within your budget, then I would suggest and recommend that maybe possibly you need to consider maybe going home and eating. Because going to McDonald's and Burger King on a regular basis, that can become very costly, and it's something that a lot of people cannot afford, and they have to understand that it's not going to be within your budget where you're going to be able to say do this on a regular basis. No saving, not saving small amount of money. Saving a small amount is better than not saving anything at all. If you sit around and you save, say, $10 a week or $10 a month, basically at least you're going to have some money that is going to be there in the reserve if you need to have something in case of an emergency. And with this here, by putting money away that you're not utilizing, you get to be a habit in which you become very aware of it, and you need to say, go ahead and do what you need to do to take care of the situation. And a lot of people have this can't wait attitude, which basically that means is that I got to have this now. I cannot wait until I have enough money to pay for it in cash. And it's where a lot of times that gets people in trouble. Because one of the things that I find that where people doesn't look at is that at the end of the year, the Christmas time frame, they go out and they spend all of this money, and at the same time they know that they don't have this money, they're using credit cards. But basically what they're doing is saying, well, I'll wait until I get my income tax check and I'll go ahead and pay this off. But this is not a good habit to have at all. When you're talking about a spending plan, it means basically where you're going to be, say, having your money where you're going to be able to track your spending. You need to have a list of things that you're going to be spending your money on. And one of the things that you need to make sure is that you got these specific necessities, first of all, in place. And the necessities is your car payment, your mortgage payment. At the same time, you need to look at your utility bills. You need to make sure that you got money set aside for the other incidentals and the required things that you need to pay.